Hello people of the internet and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, a lot of new things are happening that you don't know about. Prior to this video, my girlfriend and I had this channel. It was Tess and Kayla, and ever since the last video, our We Broke Up video, I've changed it. So if you're unaware of what's going on and why I changed it, go ahead and watch that video first and then watch this one, so you'll be more up to date and everything. As the title of the video states, we are going to talk about some serious topics today, and the reason for this is because after the We Broke Up video, I had a lot of DMs from you guys stating that you were either going through the same thing or you went through something similar, or we did talk a lot about mental health in the last video. So a lot of the DMs, more than all of them, were about mental health and how to deal with it and what you should do. And instead of answering everybody individually, because that would take forever, I decided that I was just gonna make a video about it because I think it's a very important topic and there are a lot of ways to deal with it and not everybody's the same. And I feel like if we can start a conversation in the comments below, we can start a big family discussing this topic because, like I said, it is really important. So without further ado, I'm just gonna get right into it. I wrote some things down and I just really want to touch on the things that I do or Kayla does to cope with depression, anxiety, and just having an overall well-balanced, just like state of mind. So I guess let's get into it. Until recently, I didn't realize that I had some mental health issues, that I had like severe anxiety at some points, and it's not something I ever addressed because I thought that I was just this happy and positive person all the time, so I didn't have to deal with the things that Kayla was dealing with. If a lot of you guys who have been following our channel for a while know that Kayla and I are very different, so we're very opposite energies and everything. Kayla has struggled with anxiety and depression for a majority of her life, so she has tackled and figured out ways that work really well for her that I've kind of carried over into my lifestyle. So I'm going to give her some huge props for this because she helped me realize what I was doing to basically not realize prior to all of this that I did have some anxiety and depression that I was not dealing with. So I guess part of this video is basically going to be able to help you take a look at yourself and realize maybe if you are doing some of these things that you might be struggling with it too, and then you can better help yourself in the long run and use the other tips that I have towards the end on how to cope and deal with your anxiety, depression, and overall just mental health. The number one thing that I was struggling with was my anxiety, and I didn't realize it because I was distracting myself. This thing is so huge, and I honestly think that there are many people, especially millennials, who don't realize that they have anxiety or depression because they're distracting themselves. And how do we do this? So the number one way I was doing it was with social media. And if you're not new to the channel, you know that Kayla and I took a huge long break, a month break, from all of our social media platforms. And this is what helped me realize that I was distracting myself with social media. I would literally, from the moment I woke up, if I had a day off of work, even if I was working, because I am in social media and marketing, I was on a screen from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to sleep. There was no, besides going to the bathroom or eating my lunch, and even sometimes eating my lunch, I would sit there with headphones in and watch a YouTube video on my phone. So I was distracting myself immensely from all of the feelings that I was just pushing down deep inside me, and I just wasn't addressing them because I chose not to feel. The reason that I say chose is because in that instance, I was choosing to distract myself with electronics, and I wasn't choosing to take a moment, even if I knew there were sometimes I would really have like, you know, my heart would beat really fast, or I would just feel like I couldn't catch my breath or something, and I would sit and I would either watch Netflix or I'd watch a YouTube video or I'd scroll through Instagram, whatever it was. I would sit there and distract myself and not take into consideration what I was feeling in that given moment. I guess the first step is realizing that we are distracting ourselves. And for some people, it can be different. So for instance, I know someone in my life who distracts themselves with keeping busy. So they will clean, or they'll make a huge long list of errands, or they will schedule a lot of coffee dates, or whatever it is. They'll book their schedule so they don't give themselves the time to sit and feel and really be one with what's going on with their body and what's in their head. Those are just two examples of how we can be distracting ourselves. I'm sure there's so many other ways, but those are the two that stood out to me. If you know any, please leave them in the comments below so people become aware of these things, because it's really hard to be aware of it if it's not something you're exposed to. And that's one of the reasons I'm making this video. How did I get to where I am now? And let me promise you, I'm nowhere like near curing myself or whatever, but I feel so much better than I have in, I don't know, 6 months, a year. I know there's been certain times in my life where I felt really good, but I never took the time to realize why I was feeling so good. I never took the time to understand why I was so positive and why I was so happy all the time, but it was because I was practicing some of these things I'm gonna share with you. I wrote down a few. There's only 5 I'm going to share with you today. I know that like intro kind of thing was kind of long-winded, but here we are. I'm gonna share them with you and hopefully they will help you out. So number 1 is working out. I know this topic can seem kind of scary to some people because I've been there, trust me. Sometimes it just sucks. Sometimes you just don't want to go, and you just feel like if you do go, it's not going to do any better for your life because you, 1, don't know what you're doing, or 2, you think you look silly, or it's just not going to help because of whatever reason. You just like get these things in your head and you convince yourself that working out is just not the best thing for you in that moment. And trust me, it is. No matter what you decide to do to work out, keep in mind that moving your body is the #1 goal. So you don't have to go to the gym and smash out 30 minutes on the treadmill and lift however many weights and be done within 2 hours and be body gym goals or whatever. Like, as long as you're moving your body, you're going to feel better. So if that means taking a walk or doing some jumping jacks or stretches in the morning, when you work out, your body releases chemicals called endorphins. Endorphins are a trigger of a positive feeling. So the more you work out, the happier you'll feel and the more positive you will feel. Honestly, if you have a break at work, go outside, take a 15-minute walk, like do something. You don't have to break a sweat. As long as you're moving your body, you're doing your body good. One of the other big things that I benefited from during, not only while Kayla and I were broken up, but now, and I've always benefited from it, I just like never take the time to do this, is writing things down. No matter if you're a writer or not, if you just take your feelings and put them on paper, it kind of feels like you're talking to somebody. And it kind of feels like you have your own personal therapist when you're just letting things off your chest, and it might not necessarily be to somebody else. Yeah, you might end up being like, I really need to talk to somebody about this, but it could just be for you and your own benefit to see it on paper and be like, hey, I was feeling, you know, really down, or what I was feeling was kind of irrational. You can look back and see your feelings progress over time, and if they're getting better or worse, and you can take that to a therapist, or you can do something else with it. Another one of them is meditation. And I think a lot of our generation, and even people before our generation and after, are taking advantage of this. And I don't know why some people aren't, because it's so beneficial and it takes so much for me, just like working out, to actually do, because sitting on Instagram and scrolling is just so easy, and meditating and getting yourself to actually do it for whatever reason it is, even though I always come out feeling better, is so hard. I've noticed that meditating in the morning is a lot more beneficial for me than meditating at night. Kayla loves meditating at night. It helps her fall asleep. But for me, I get really bad anxiety before I go to sleep, and I have this just like insomnia where I cannot fall asleep sometimes, especially if I have to wake up really early the next day. And that's something I'm tackling with my therapist over the next few sessions with her. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's gonna be one of my other tips. I'm giving it away, but it's also beneficial. But meditating, do it if you can. There are so many apps out there. I personally like Insight Timer. I've also come to a point in my meditation journey where just sitting with my thoughts and feelings is very beneficial to me. And when I started, it was so hard to not get distracted, but for whatever reason, it is really helping without having any noise, or even just some sort of white noise. And Insight Timer has that too. There's a white noise section where you don't have to have like a guided meditation. You can have like a fan, or you can have rain. And sometimes I'll do rain. Kayla and I fall asleep with a rain app. The rain app is called Rain Rain. We've told you guys about it before. It helps us fall asleep. So sometimes keeping that on while I wake up in the morning and just sitting there in my bed in my meditation pose is really helpful because it helps me wake up. So, and when I first started, I like could only do 5 minutes, and now I'm at like 10 to 15 sometimes. Sometimes I'm still only do 5 minutes, but they say 15, if you really get into the habit of meditating, gives you the feeling, and I've felt this before, guys, it's amazing, of having a full night's sleep, which is freaking amazing. If I could feel like that every morning, even if I didn't get a full night's sleep, like who wouldn't benefit from that? You guys, the internet is such a great resource to figure out what works best for you. Figure out what sort of meditation will work best for you, because there is laying down meditations, guys. Like there's food meditations. I want to do that. Why haven't I yet? I don't know, but I'm telling you about it. Maybe you will, and you can tell me how it is. So the next one, I kind of already spoke about it, is talking about your feelings. For me, I have always seen talk therapy or therapists or psychotherapists, whatever that you want to call them, are portrayed in movies and always have been in my life as something negative. And when my brother passed away, I never thought that I needed one because I'm such a positive and happy person, and I roll my eyes at that because we all go through things where we're not always positive and happy, and we need to talk about them, whether it be with a friend or it be with somebody professionally. I think that we need to talk about our feelings, and if you don't feel comfortable yet to go to a professional and talk about these things, talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to somebody you feel comfortable with, because getting things off your chest and not leaving them deep down inside of you is amazing. When my brother died, and there's so many other things that I've realized after talking to my therapist, like I've just stored way deep inside of me, and that is where my nighttime anxiety comes from. That's where my midday anxiety comes from. My little anxieties throughout the day come from all of the things that I've buried deep inside of me and not allowed myself to feel. I'm very proud of myself for going to actually see somebody regarding these things, because for a long time I thought I never needed to. I do want to promote it because I think it's an amazing thing, and I have only seen my therapist once, and I'm seeing her on Tuesday, and I cannot wait because I already feel after one session that I've, one, learned so much, and two, seen so much potential for myself mentally and so on and so forth. So if I can encourage anybody to find the right therapist for themselves and figure out how to conquer all of the demons inside of them, I want to be that person. So I can't wait to talk about it more. And nature is the next one. This is huge, and it stinks right now because it is freezing out, and it's only gonna get colder from here. And this is why my girlfriend wants to move to a hot place, but whew, the heat in me, we are not friends. Nature is huge. There are so many studies that nature helps the human brain, and if you can get outside even when it's cold, I can tell you from personal experience that it is so helpful and can change your mood around like that. And that's all I'm gonna say about it. I will talk about it later in another video if you guys want. Take the time to do all these things, because I know firsthand that it is so hard to actually do them. But if you tell yourself, if you notice that there's that thing in your brain saying, oh, I can do it later, or oh, like something else is better, it's not. You are going to feel 100% better if you do one, if not all of these things in your daily routine. Write down the things that make you happy, and then in another column, write down the things you do on a daily basis. If those don't line up, you're doing something wrong. that's all I have to say there. And I really want to talk more about this. I think we could all benefit from it. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Let's start a positive conversation. Thank you so much for watching. I'm talking really fast. I'm so sorry. I want to keep talking. I could talk for days about this. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for supporting me and staying here. It means the world to me. Oh my God, I could cry. Emotions, feelings. I love you so much, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.